Yo, what's good YouTube? It's boardzy, and this is going to be a review of the Razer Deathadder V3 wired. That is right, if you were not aware, Razer released a wired version of the Deathadder V3 Pro that is going to be coming in at $70, 8K hertz polling rate, and it has an updated smooth coating. Those are the biggest changes that were made. Other than that, it's basically just the new shape of the Deathadder, but in wired form. It is a few grams lighter, coming in at 5960 grams on my scale, and the cable, I'm sure, is going to be a big thing. A lot of people will simply not buy a mouse with a wire anymore. Whenever I review wired mice, the videos obviously get significantly less views because people are just so adjusted to wireless. I would say this cable falls into the category of good, not great. It's not an exceptional cable that you literally won't feel at all, but it's really not a hindrance, and I can't say the experience was bad. The cable is pretty light, and honestly, it is good. It has a good amount of flexibility considering the fact that to send an 8K hertz signal, I think it's like legally required for the cables to have more shielding. It's better than I remember the cable being on the Viper 8K hertz wired, and I would say better than the Viper Mini's cable as well. If you throw it in a bungee, it will obviously perform better. As you can see, you can also angle the stress relief up a bit, and like I said, it's going to be a good, more than passable wired mouse experience, but I'm not going to lie and say that it feels like a true wireless mouse, because obviously it fucking does not. The freedom of motion from wireless, literally every mouse on my desk is wireless. I'm obviously biased towards wireless mice. I just can't say that I was playing any worse, and when you consider the fact that this mouse technically does have better performance, it's less than half the price of the wireless model. I think there is certainly a market for it. People who are looking for good performance, the good shape at a affordable price point. You're just gonna have to deal with the fucking wire, and you also will never have to charge the mouse, so that is another advantage. Now I'll cover some of the changes they made feature-wise, first of which is going to be the coating. As you can see, this is now using a smooth and pretty grippy rubberized coating. I would say this falls somewhere between a Zowie coating and the G Pro Superlight coating. Not quite as rubbery as the Superlight, but it doesn't pick up fingerprints like a Zowie mouse. I would say it's a really good coating. I hope they switch the chalky coating on the Viper V2 and Deathadder V3 Pro to something more like that, mainly because it just has a more premium feeling than Razer's other offerings. I don't know if they just put it on this model as like a test run to see what people think, but I'm definitely a pretty big fan of it. The overall quality and even the shape of the mouse just feels a bit different, and I think the shape comes down to the coating, but for the quality, they might have made like a slight density change in the plastic on this mouse, because it just does feel a bit more well put together than my Deathadder V3 Pro wireless unit, where if I really squeeze, I can get this shell to flex in a bit. Nothing I would notice from like standard in-game pressure, but this just does seem like slightly better built. In addition to that, the clicks also feel a bit better implemented and slightly less mushy. That could just be because this is a fresher unit and I haven't really been slamming it for months on end. But something with this shell makes the Razer optical switches have a slight more mushy feeling than they do on the Viper V2 Pro and even the Viper Mini Signature Edition. It's just the nature of the shell, at least on the units I've tested. The side buttons, I thought they were identical. They're definitely the same switch. They feel the exact same, but I have a theory that they just protrude from the mouse slightly less. I could be wrong about that, but when it just comes down to feel, it does feel like they protrude a bit less. I could drive myself crazy. I could also like take a picture, measure it, but I just figure I'm gonna let you guys know that there's no issues with the equality, like when it comes to side wobble, post-travel, pre-travel, really fucking well tensioned. Something is different with the scroll wheel. It feels like it's on a much lighter and just like looser encoder. I'm not sure if you'll be able to hear a difference, but the Deathadder V3 Pro wireless definitely has a bit more of a notchy and well-defined feel, so that could just be unit-to-unit variance once again, but it is something I noted. They did also update the stock skates. As you can see, it's a more white-looking PTFE than the gray stock skates that they had been using. It looks like it's more of a pure white colorway. They also do appear to be thicker than any Razer stock skates I can remember, so they're pretty solid. They definitely are very controlled. I don't know exactly why they couldn't do a bigger skate at the top as well. I feel like two big skates, it's just the design that makes most sense. But yeah, as you can see, it's going to glide well. This is a Saturn Pro, and it's just going to be a pretty controlled feeling overall, especially when you're like switching directions. You can feel a slight tug. I do believe it is the same design though, so if you want to cop aftermarket Deathadder V3 skates, they will work on this mouse as well. But yeah, I'm honestly not sure what else there is to say, because this is just using the same tech that we've seen for a while now. now. It's the same shape that we've seen on the Deathadder V3 Pro, and it's just like, yeah, it's a good mouse. If you're looking for a wired mouse, or just really, I would say this is one of the best mice under $70, period. Once you get to like 90, you can start getting some decent wireless mice. But just like the experience for this, I would say blows most wired mice out of the water. It's better than like a Zowie EC1C or something. It feels a lot like a Zowie mouse with the coating, and just like when I palm grip this mouse, it feels a lot closer to a Zowie mouse than the wireless version does. And a lot of people are going to be like, that sounds stupid, it doesn't make sense. But if you get both versions, you'll just notice that the shape feels different. Like your grip on this mouse is just going to be ever so slightly different than it is on the standard version with the chalkier coating. That's what I chalk it up to. But yeah, that's going to be all for this video. I do highly recommend this mouse. I mean, I guess I can give it the seal of approval. I figured it kind of just carries over from the wireless version unless they really fucked it up, which they didn't. 8K hertz polling rate, that's going to vary PC to PC. It actually was working in Fortnite for me, which was a surprise. I did occasionally run into like stutters on Kovac, so for the most part, I was running it on 4K hertz polling. But yeah, really the world's your oyster when it comes to customization. Pretty dope all around. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video. Any questions, leave them in the comments below. And yeah, peace.